Hi guys, this is David here from Right on Resources, and today we're going to be taking a look at the English Language Paper 1 examination. So this video is specifically for anyone that is studying English language with AQA. I'm going to give you an overview of the paper, which is called Explorations in Creative Reading and Writing, and some helpful tips on how to progress throughout the course. Paper 1 will focus on a single text of modern prose. When I say modern prose, we're talking about an extract from a novel. Below are the questions you will need to answer. So if we have a look at the first one, so question 1 says identify 4 details from the start of the text. Typically this will come from the first 5 lines of the extract, and you'll be able to identify some key details which should be fairly straightforward, and it's just there to test your comprehension and understanding as we go forward. Question 2. How has the writer used language? Now when we refer to language, we mean the specific techniques that a writer has used to aid a description. These might be go massive techniques or any other language techniques that you've studied in your other lessons. Question 3. How does the writer use structure to interest the reader? Typically, this is a question that a lot of learners struggle with because we spend a lot of time going over language, which will be question 2, and don't really spend that much time going over question 3. If you're unsure about structure, then make sure you spend some extra time going through the techniques and understanding how the writer uses these to engage the reader. Question 4. You'll be given a statement. So a student, a hypothetical student, would have read the same extract you were given, and you need to decide whether you agree with the statement they give about the text. So you'll have to say, to what extent do you agree? When you're answering this question, you need to make sure you are justifying your answers by selecting quotations and commenting on the methods used by the writer. And the final question for this paper is write a description or opening of a story. So for this, you'll be faced with a picture or a scenario, and you'll be asked to use that as inspiration to help start your writing. Paper 1 is separated into 2 sections, Section A and Section B. Section A can be broken down into the 4 following questions. So we did look at these a little bit on the previous slide, but now I'm going to tell you what kind of skills you need to be aware of and practice when you prepare for this exam. So the main one with question 1 is identify explicit, which would mean obvious, pieces of information. These are things that should be fairly straightforward and easy for you to identify in the first part of the extract. Moving on to question 2. Again, we need to be thinking about language techniques when we're thinking about this question, and then you need to analyse how these have been used. So the question will normally ask you, how has the writer used language to describe something or other? With that, you need to see what kind of language techniques have been used and really think about how does that aid to our understanding of the description. Question 3, identifying structure. So you need to have a firm understanding of structural techniques before you attempt this question. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for you to succeed in this question. You'll need to think about how they're used to engage the reader and to keep us interested to carry on reading the rest of the story. Question 4 is evaluating the writer's methods. So when we say the writer's methods, you can talk about both language or structure for this question. You evaluate the methods used by the writer in relation to the statement that's given to us by the student. This is a little bit of a harder question out of all 4, and generally you'll be expected to write more for each question as they go along. You should aim to spend about an hour doing this section, so it's a really good idea to get some practice in and to go through the questions one by one and set yourself some targets, time yourself, and see how quickly and accurately you can respond to each question. Section B will require you to attempt a piece of creative writing. This can be very challenging for a lot of people, but once you break it down and once you understand what you'll really be assessed on, it makes it a lot easier. It can be broken down into the 2 following sections. So the first one is AO5. Now whenever we say AO, that stands for Assessment Objective. These are the things that your teacher or the person marking your exam is going to actually assess you on. So the first one, AO5, is called Content and Organisation. So what techniques have you used and how has your writing been structured? So these are looking to build on the skills or the techniques that you've picked out in section A and see how you can actually apply them to your own writing. So you need to be able to use some techniques to demonstrate your strong understanding of English. This is not something that actually marks you on the quality of the story in terms of the actual story that you're being told. It doesn't need to be the next Harry Potter, but it needs to be able to demonstrate that you're able to use these techniques in a confident and coherent manner. So the next one, AO6, is technical accuracy. Now, a lot of people slip up on this one because we don't really give it the proper amount of time and thought during the exam. So this deals with things like, have you spelt words correctly? And have you used a range of punctuation? These are key things on the mark scheme. So if you're getting spellings wrong, that can easily lose you some marks. If you're getting common spellings wrong, things like there, and there, homophones that people get wrong quite often, at GCSE level you expect to know how to differentiate between the 3 different variants and use more sophisticated spellings as well. When it comes to your punctuation, if you're only using things like full stops and commas, then you're not going to get a very big mark. If you need extra help or support with this, then please check out our next video, which will go into the actual spelling, punctuation and grammar in more detail. For this section, you should spend about 45 minutes. Now that sounds like a lot of time, but during that time you need to write 5 paragraphs. So you need to think very carefully and take your time planning this response before you rush into it as well. Before you start on paper 1 in more depth, here are a few ways that you can succeed on this paper. I've got 5 tips that I think will help you to get the most out of your time while studying this course. So number 1, practice writing exam responses regularly. When I say this, I don't mean that you should do an entire paper in one sitting. That is potentially going to do more harm than good. What you should do instead is focus on a question, make sure you understand that question, practice that question and make sure someone with the knowledge or understanding is there to mark it or guide you through with your feedback. Number 2, revise the key language techniques. So you need to know these for a number of different questions in the exam paper. You need to know it for question 2, the language question 4, which is about writers' methods, and then you need to apply those techniques when you're creating your own creative writing as well. So if you don't have a good understanding of language techniques, you really need to focus on this. Again, if you want extra help with this, there will be more videos added to this channel, so please do look back and see if we can help you in any way. Number 3, be aware of the key structural techniques. Now, a lot of people don't spend that much time doing structure, so it's really important that we make sure that we're dedicating a little bit of time just to feel confident with these techniques and see how they can actually be used in writing and to make writing more effective. Number 4, attempt creative writing challenges. Now on this channel there's another video on creative writing, and the creative writing challenge only asks you to do about 200 to 250 words. The reason why I'm saying that is because you can often learn just enough about your creative writing from 2 to 3 paragraphs than you do from having a full 45-minute attempt at one. It's better to start slowly, build up your skills and to see how you're using those techniques to really become an engaging writer. And the last one, read. Now this is one that gets a lot of rolling of the eyes from my learners. That's fine. I understand that reading is something that not a lot of people enjoy. However, the more you engage in text, the more you read and understand how to craft writing, the better you will be when you come to do question 5. Question 5 is a really big part of the exam and it will affect your mark massively, so please do make sure you give that a look. So if you're ready to begin, use the other videos on the channels to help gain a strong understanding of paper 1. There will be videos added every single week on every single question that you will face. So again, if you're struggling on one in particular, please leave us a like and subscribe, give us a comment, and I'll try to make sure I'm creating content that helps you succeed in your exams. If you're thinking about revision, set yourself a goal to complete one task or video each day to help build your skills for the exam. Again, we're not talking about spending hours and hours doing revision. It should be little bursts between 10 to 30 minutes of time where you just practice all of those key skills that you need to do for the exam. If you feel you need extra help or support, then please check out our channel on a regular basis. We also have a partner channel here called Bookworm Teaching for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Best of luck, guys.